we could do I could do a whole deal on deep cranking, but in general, I don't look as much as other guys might. I like to find them with the rod and reel. I seek and destroy them with the bait. And if you get on a good ledge and you start covering water with that crankbait, this fish will tell you where they are when they bow up on that sucker. There's one. And me and Ike and Ellie, actually, because we room together, we talk a lot about it. I would mention Ish, but just Ish doesn't throw a deep crank very much. So so me and Mike, we love throwing a deep crankbait. And he and I have talked about it. When you're seeking with that crankbait and you're looking for them, and you're going, you'll go 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe an hour without a bite, and you're hitting that cover, you're hitting cover, all of a sudden you hit the right type of cover, you know it before they bite it. You'll know it before, because like the more you do it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You're throwing, and then all of a sudden you hit something, you're like, uh-oh, here it is. A lot of times it's a hard bottom, the right type of hard bottom, something like that, or you come over the right type of stump or brush pile or something like that. You hit the right piece, you're like, oop, it's getting ready. There he is. You just know it's coming because you've felt it before, and then that's what you're kind of looking for. And a lot of that kind of stuff, you can't see it on the graph. You just got to. It's all about feel. Years ago, I was fishing a tournament at because I had kind of come to this conclusion that extra wide gaps on small crankbaits were the deal. I'm using them not all the time because I would never lose fish, but I was cranking a lot of warmer climates. Warmer water, and I wasn't losing any fish. So we had one of these tournaments on down on Gunnersville, early spring, as I mentioned. You're cranking a plug pre-spawn can be real good. So I'm cranking this plug, and man, I had a big old fish on there, and it pulls off. And this is during the tournament, so I'm a little distraught. And a little while later, I caught one, and then I hooked up another one. Get about halfway back to the boat, and it comes off. And like my mind is totally blown because the previous summer I caught a couple hundred fish, I think, on shallow crankbaits. It was just one of those years where you catch a bunch of them, and I didn't lose any. And so I'm sitting here spinning and checking my hook points, and they're sharp as razors. Man, I just couldn't figure it out. I said, let me put this other bait on. So I thought it was the bait. So I changed baits, and it had round bend treble hooks on it. And I probably caught, all the rest of the fish that day and never lost any. And that night when I was getting ready to change and put extra wide gap hooks on that same bait, it hit me. I was like, no, it's the round bends. I was like, duh, it's the round bends because they're getting better bite. In the cold water, those fish's mouth get harder. And I don't know if anybody ever crappie fishes, but you can really tell when it gets warm and those crappie get to biting, their mouths is what they call them paper mouths. They get real soft. Bass is not as bad, but it's similar. It's a similar theory, and I totally think it's 100% the deal. And when you get in that colder water, you definitely want the round bends because they have that better bite. They get in since their mouths are harder, the hooks stay in better. But when you get in the summertime, that water temperature gets up in 80, 85 degrees. Especially like on the Potomac River, the flats and things like that, those extra wide gaps, since the fish's mouth is not as tough, you get that extra wide gap hook in there easier, but once you get that thing hooked in there, they're not going to come off. So that's a good little general rule to think about and consider. And so that's my little take on hooks.
It's Mike Iaconelli. This is Bass U TV.
Here's what's awesome about Bass U TV.
You get the top instructors.
You will learn things at Bass U that you will learn nowhere else.
We take the mystery and the myths out of bass fishing.
Real tools that help you catch more fish consistently.
At Bass U TV, shoes are optional.
And I like turtles.
And that's why you want to check out Bass U TV.
Join the Bass U family.
Welcome to Bass U TV.